The Texas heartbeat law is back in courts January 7th, 2026, and these are your headlines. The Supreme Court of Texas is set to hear arguments next week in a case that could revive a constitutional challenge to the Texas Heartbeat Act or end it entirely on procedural grounds. The dispute stems from a lawsuit filed by the Lilith Fund, that's a leftist pro-abortion organization, after a private citizen, Sadie Weldon, sought to depose the group for admittedly violating the Heartbeat Act. Weldon argues that the Lilith Fund's lawsuit was retaliatory and should be dismissed under the Texas Citizens Participation Act, which protects Texans from lawsuits intended to silence them on matters of public concern. Well, Weldon was seeking evidence before filing a civil enforcement action under the Heartbeat Act, which allows private citizens to sue abortion providers or their aides. Instead, the Lilith Fund sued Weldon, asking courts to block the deposition and declare the law unconstitutional. Lower courts have sided with the Lilith Fund, but the Texas Supreme Court has agreed to take the case. The justices will now decide whether the TCPA applies and whether the lawsuit should be dismissed before any ruling on the Heartbeat Act's constitutionality. Oral arguments are set for January 14th. Governor Greg Abbott has announced a set of 3 new appointments to the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, which oversees the state's public university system. Governor Abbott appointed Colt McCoy of Aledo and Daryl Heath of Colleyville, and reappointed Ashley Thomas of Victoria. The board plays a key role in setting statewide higher education policy and overseeing taxpayer-funded institutions. Now, if he sounds familiar, Colt McCoy is a 2009 graduate of the University of Texas at Austin, where he starred as the Longhorns quarterback and led the team to the national championship game in his senior season. I know you Longhorns remember that. Well, he went on to spend 14 years in the NFL before retiring ahead of the 2024 season, and he now works in real estate and serves on advisory boards at the university. Heath is a Texas A&M graduate and retired corporate executive who now runs an investment firm and is active in philanthropy. The appointments are subject to Texas Senate confirmation next year.
Are you worried about your kid's future? You should be. I'm Charles Blaine with Texas Tomorrow. This is a show where we're going to talk about the issues and the people that are pushing the policies that concern your family, your home, and your kids. Catch Texas Tomorrow every Thursday.
4 judicial candidates in Harris County have dropped out of their Democrat primary races after legal challenges to their ballot filings, prompting a judge to order several names removed from the primary ballot. The candidates, Allison Mathis, Anna Edie, Angela Reese-McKinnon, and Velda Faulkner, withdrew after lawsuits alleged defects in their applications, including filing errors and invalid petition signatures. Although the candidates exited last week, a court order was required to formally remove the names because ballot deadlines had already passed. State law requires candidates to strictly comply with filing rules, including clearly identifying the office sought and submitting valid petition signatures when required. Some challenges allege petition signatures showed striking handwriting similarities, raising questions about whether or not they were even real. Others cited applications that failed to properly identify the judicial seat. None of the candidates were accused of personally forging signatures. Mathis disputed the allegations but said she withdrew to avoid the cost and speed of election litigation. Election attorneys note that even unproven challenges can be expensive, and courts place responsibility squarely on candidates to ensure that filings are valid. For more of today's stories, go to TexasScorecard.com.